So I've just finished a session. We were talking about carbon removals in Africa and whether carbon removals can happen durable carbon removals can happen in Africa. And I thought it was a very inspiring session. The panelists were quite hopeful. And we actually got to also hear from two companies at different stages of their growth who are doing something around carbon removals. And I thought that was quite insightful. So a couple of things I would like to hopefully see come out of those kinds of conversations. One, I'm hoping there's going to be an increased understanding of what carbon removals are. At the moment, my sense is that we're still at a point where carbon removals is still a very foreign world, or a very foreign concept. So how do we make that a little bit more democratized and make sure there's increased understanding of what carbon removals are? Secondly, we need to make sure that we have the right policies that will encourage carbon removals happening at scale in Africa, and so that we can actually see the benefits of carbon removals, which is both helping the world decarbonize, but at the same time creating innovation and jobs on the continent. And then thirdly, we talked about finance, which is an important aspect, and we need a lot of finance. So again, how do we move this from things we want to happen to actually seeing investments happening on the continent and seeing financing at different levels, whether it's debt, concessional funding, grants, equity funding happening on the continent. And the last bit I would say is, it's one thing to say that this, to have these conversations, but as Jacob's Ladder and at Great Carbon Valley, one of the things that we're really interested in is how do we build an ecosystem around this? So how do we make sure that we're seeing our young innovators, our young financiers, our young people becoming involved in the CDR community? So again, we make sure that carbon removals doesn't just become a conversation that's happening in the global north, but it's actually something that's happening in the global south. And Kenya, Africa is becoming a hub for carbon removals in all these different areas. So very excited to see what comes out of this, and again, once again, for the opportunity.